I am seriously kicking myself for not doing this sooner. This has saved me so much effort on doing my daily chores. Hey everybody, Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. Next DIY project on the list that I need to get tackled. We have our next batch of meat birds in the brooder, as I showed you in a video here a couple weeks ago. They are just under a week away from graduating the brooder, heading out to pasture. They'll live out the remaining 5 weeks of their life before they go to processor. A project I wanted to go ahead and try to tackle real quick for the chicken breeder before I get them out here is trying to go ahead and get the water automated to where we're not having to tote out water every single day, twice a day. This is a project we've been wanting to do for a while now, and I'm gonna go ahead and bite the bullet and get this knocked out. It's not a super expensive project. My biggest concern was I don't have all my water infrastructure in place that I was wanting to have done when it came time to do this project. So what we're gonna end up having to do is run from the closest hydrant I have out to this chicken tractor, which means I'm probably gonna have anywhere from 100 to pushing 250 feet of water line that I gotta lay on top of the ground, which isn't the end of the world when the grass is tall, as long as I can keep it in a spot where it hasn't been grazed down yet. I don't want the water getting too hot during the summer months either. I think I've got a fix for that, for at least for now, until I can get some more in-ground lines placed out here. And I'll show you what that is as this project progresses. So stick with me. I think this is gonna be a pretty cool project. I haven't seen anybody do it quite like the way I've got it in my head. Hopefully it all goes smooth and everything goes as planned. Let me go take this video to the workshop real quick. I'll show you what I've got in mind here. Well, the thought was my shop was gonna be a little cooler, but in all honesty, I think the air in here is just as bad as it is outside. So let's go ahead and try to go over what I'm gonna do here, and then I'll go outside and this will hopefully make a little more sense while I'm running you through the install. So essentially what I'm planning on doing is running a 3/4 inch PVC pipe across the top rails of my roof on my chicken tractor. I went ahead and picked up these little poultry waters. These are made by Little Giant. They're automatic waters. So the theory here is that when this thing gets full of water, it pulls down on the bottom like this and it'll shut that valve off. When it starts getting low, it lightens up the spring. The water fills back up. As it gets heavy again, it shuts itself back off. So I picked up 4 of these. The website says they're rated at roughly 150 birds per water. So I should in theory have way overkill because I'm only going to have around 180 birds in my chicken tractor at once. So 4 of these, I'm hoping gives them more than enough space to go ahead and be able to get to a water source. So what I've got here, these things, let me go ahead and get this one out of the package because I already set up 3 of them. So this is how they come when you get them. There's really nothing to the install. The actual valve itself is already pre-assembled. So when you get it out, you get your little bowl like you see here, and then this is your valve. The valve simply threads into the bowl. There's nothing on the bottom side of this. It's just a piece of brass, and it just threads right into the bowl itself like this until it bottoms itself out. So once you get this thing threaded on like this, kind of give it a snug, and there's your finished product right there. Now this thing here comes undone like so, and when we get out there and actually get water to this thing, the theory is you will twist these little nuts right here. That'll vary your spring tension when this thing pulls down on itself, and that'll be able to get you dialed in to where this thing doesn't overfill itself essentially. Wherever your preference is to get your water line on this bowl, you can kind of dial that in how you want it. That's honestly the only bad review I've seen on these things, is I think people don't know how to adjust that little nut, and they end up with a leak problem. Now when you also get this, you got to keep in mind too, this is a 1/2 inch MPT thread, so you do need to buy some sort of an adapter, whether it be a plastic or a brass like I've got here. But basically this is 1/2 inch MPT up to 3/4 inch like garden hose fitting. This in here has a rubber washer just like you'd have on like any other hose nozzle. So this thing can kind of just thread in like so. Now you can adapt this to where you could basically just hook this up to a garden hose if you wanted to, which is not what we're gonna do, but that's what's nice about this, is if you only need one of them and you're running your chickens in like a little shed or run in or whatnot, you can literally just hook this up to a garden hose and you'd be good to go. So let me go and get that tightened up. Now the next thing we're gonna do, the way I wanna set this up, I'm gonna take an old garden hose like you see here, and that's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna drape this down from my 3/4 inch pipe that I'm gonna run, and I'm gonna have T's running off of that. So what I needed was something that was 3/4 inch garden hose like you see here to like a barbed fitting. And that barbed fitting will fit right inside of my hose here, like so. And like I said, this is an old hose that I've been using for random projects around the farm for years. I've got enough left over here. I think I can make this project work. The theory here is there's also a washer inside of here. Just because I don't want to deal with a leak, I'm going overkill on this, and I'm going ahead and wrap some Teflon around these. I don't think that's necessary, but it doesn't hurt to be a little overkill in this situation. So a couple wraps with the Teflon on this thing, and I'll be good to go. And then I'll go ahead and thread that in, throw my wrenches on here, give that a few turns. That's your finished product right there. I've got all 4 of these ready to go. The theory here is to take a 3/4 inch T like you see here. It's got a threaded end on the T part. So I got another one of those barb fittings with Teflon tape in there. This will basically sit just like so. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I think this is a pretty cool setup. Time will tell. So let me go ahead and get set up in the field back in the chicken tractor. I'll bring all the stuff out there with me and we'll get to work on this and see how this thing turns out. And we're back to the chicken tractor. So first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna put a hole right here in the side of this thing where I can exit this water line. Then I'll start running this water line across each one of these supports all the way down, and I'm actually gonna exit it all the way down that side as well. That'll make sense here in just a minute when I get to that point. Let me go ahead and get this water line installed, get all my tees put in, and we'll see if we can get this project start taking shape. Well, I literally got the project done. Everything was going super smooth. And then I realized that I put a male end on there instead of a female. Tomorrow we're gonna go pick up extra parts, but that's okay. So this is our stopping point for the night. Everything's up and installed. Basically, I've got 3/4 inch line going to tees. You got your threaded piece on the bottom of the tee, which goes into that barbed fitting, runs down to your drinker, ×4, runs all the way down, and then goes out the other side. The other side is mirrored. That way I can run the hose from either direction on this line. And the other thing I can do too, because I have shutoffs on both ends, I can flush the line from the opposite side if need be. And then this fitting here, in case you were wondering, is for a future project. I have plans of running a line up and over to do some kind of a misting system. I haven't quite figured that out yet. I wanted to go ahead and plumb that in for future use, so I had it and I was ready. I didn't go through and modify this line later on. Nothing else, I can always cap that off and not use it. This is where we're gonna leave off tonight. I'll get my little adapters that I need to be able to hook this up to the hose. Kind of bummed I couldn't do it tonight, but we'll pick this project back up in the morning. Okay, fast forward to the next day. I got the parts I needed to finish up this install. Let me go ahead and get these parts put on real quick. We'll get this thing turned on and we'll see if this thing works as well as I'm hoping it does. All right, here's our moment of truth. I got everything set up, hooked up. I think we're good to go now. So here's what we got. I got a hose running off the closest hydrant. Goes into this RV filter here. That's basically just to filter out any sediment, mainly the iron and the rust that I get in my lines. I'm trying to filter that out and keep that to a minimum. Can't remember exactly what all that filter does, but nonetheless, it makes the water as clean as I can get it out to this point. Goes into this valve here. I've got shut off right now. Right now, all my water bowls are empty. Let's go ahead and turn this valve on. I'll show you what this thing does. Water is feeding in here now. Okay, and just like that, we've got water on the other end. Let me go ahead and shut that off. Looks like our bowls are filling up like I want them to. Now the real trick will be to see if these things actually fill up to where I want them to be. So it took me a couple minutes of playing with these little waters to figure out exactly how to adjust them and get the water level right. And I've got that water level adjusted down to where it's about a 1/2 inch below the lip. Essentially all you got to do to come in here is, as this thing gets emptied out, like so, it senses that the water level's low and puts more water back in that bowl, thus making it a little bit heavier. So that dude will shut back off here in a second when it gets heavy enough. Now what's cool about this is when you disconnect it like this, this is what senses the water pressure right here. And your Schrader valve, which is just like a tire pressure valve, when you push on that, that's what's dispensing your water. So when I hook this thing back up like so, it goes right back to filling up again. So we're gonna give this a shot and see if this works. This ought to drastically cut down on a little bit of my chores in the evenings, not having to tote so much water out here and having this readily available to them at all times. Not to mention, if they run out of water while I'm at work, and I don't get right home right away to get them water, they're not sitting out here hot and thirsty and waiting on me to get them set up and going. I'm gonna put birds in here the next few days. I'll do a follow-up on that once I get them out here, show you what this looks like with birds in chicken tractor and water set up, and that'll be where we leave you at. Okay, so birds have been out here for roughly a week. They've got adjusted, we've done some moves. I am seriously kicking myself for not doing this sooner. This has saved me so much effort on doing my daily chores. You got to think, I was bringing anywhere between 3 and 5 gallon buckets out here once, if not twice a day, depending on the heat, how many birds I've got in here at once. While that's not the end of the world, not having to fill buckets and bring it out here, tote it out here, fill waterers back up, this has been a huge time saver in helping me become more efficient and getting some of my time back in the afternoon and evenings. Not to mention how easy it is to keep these things clean. Let me turn you around here, I'll show you what I mean. So in the afternoons when I come out here, the only thing I got to do with these waterers is I come over here like so, I'll grab this thing, flip that thing upside down, let a little fresh water go in there, switch it around a little bit, empty it out one more time, and then just like that, I've got fresh water again. If these things get too dirty, all I gotta do is bring a rag out here with me or just switch my hand around in there. These things are back to clean again. Before that, I was having to bring the waterers back up to the house, grit the hose out, scrub them out with a scrub brush, try to keep them clean. You know how hard it is to keep those drinkers clean sometimes, especially with your meat birds. They get everything nasty. Believe me when I say this is one of those projects that I should have done a long time ago. I hate that I put it out for so long, but in the end, it's done now. I've already, in just a week's time, seen the difference that it's made in my daily routine. And this is going to be huge going forward, guys. If you made it this far with me, I appreciate you watching. I hope you were able to gain some ideas of your own when it comes to maybe the way you guys do things on your farm or at your house. Little things like this can go a long way in helping make yourself more efficient and make it a lot more enjoyable for you when you're raising animals on farm. That's all I've got for you on this one today, guys. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Catch you guys on the next one.